Hello guys, welcome to the fiction series. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto got harem with Pan, Bra and Marron? Part 2. If you want more awesome fan fiction like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, so without wasting any time, let's get into the video. Not long after the ship took off, Trunks had tried taking the key for the ship so they could go back to Earth to take Naruto, Pan, and Bra back. Only for his sister and Pan to grab it first and refuse to give it to him. "Pan, this isn't funny, give it back now," Trunks said while lunging at Pan to try and get the key, only for the Quarter Saiyan to jump over him. "No way. You want it, come and get it," said Pan, laughing as she landed on top of the counter in the B pit as Trunks gave her an annoyed look. "Pan, give me that override key this instant," demanded Trunks, only for Pan to hold the key up with Bra jumping over her and grabbing it. "Sorry bro, but not happening. We're on this trip and you can't do anything about it," Bra said while grinning. "Bra, seriously? This mission's way too dangerous for 3 children and you're already going to be in enough trouble with mom and dad when we get back. Don't make it any worse," Trunks warned, only for Bra to smirk at him and spin the key on her finger. "Joke's on you Trunks, we both know dad can never stay mad at me. And mom can't say anything, given all the dangerous adventures she's been on, now it's our turn," replied Bra before sticking her tongue out at her brother, with Trunks growling in annoyance. "In the key," Trunks said, making another lunge for it, only to smack into the wall when Bra jumped over him, passing the key to Pan as she did so. "Over here now," taunted Pan, grinning, making the older half-Saiyan jump at her. With this continuing for a few moments as Trunks tried getting the key from the girls, while Pan and Bra kept it away and passed it between each other. With Naruto and Goku simply sitting in their seats, the whiskered blonde watching the scene in amusement while Goku was eating. Though eventually, it seemed like Trunks had given up, making Pan poke him on the shoulder. "Trunks," Pan said, wondering if he's finally accepted that they were going, only to be surprised when he turned around and pinned her to the chair. "Now, give me back that key. You're all going him, so hand it over," said Trunks, believing he's finally gotten them. Only to be shocked when Pan then put the key down her shirt and into her bra, with a ravenet grinning while Trunks looked at her in disbelief and annoyance. "Your move now, bro," stated Bra as she and Pan smirked at him, knowing they've officially won, as Trunks hung his head in defeat. "A year of this and I'll be a basket case," Trunks muttered, not knowing how he can survive a year with these two. "Trunks, you should just accept it and let us go. Besides, we can't turn back now, since we do need to gather the Black Star Dragon Balls as soon as possible. Not to mention, how we need to locate them on whichever planets they're on, along with whenever we'd need to stop to refuel the ship and refill our supplies. So, we can't waste time traveling back to Earth," said Naruto, making the others look at him with Goku and Trunks both realizing they were right, they were on a timetable and couldn't waste any of it. "He's right, you know, we don't have any time to waste," Goku stated, with Trunks sighing and nodding as he sat down. "Yeah, I know. Fine, you 3 can come, but you have to swear to leave the fighting to me and Goku." "Well, you 3 might have been training, you aren't as strong as us," Trunks said, accepting that the preteens are coming, but would at least make sure they wouldn't get in over their heads. With Naruto, Pan, and Bra simply smirking, knowing that after their training, they were more than strong enough to join in the fighting. "You don't have to worry, I've got my own transformation now, my Kaiohenshin. I created it after combining the Kaioken and max power form, with it being a permanent boost rather than temporary, along with not putting a strain on my body the longer I use it," Naruto revealed, much to Goku and Trunks' shock at hearing this. "That's right, well Bra and I are now Super Saiyans," said Pan as she smirked along with Bra, further shocking the two. Though they couldn't risk showing their transformations, given they didn't want to accidentally damage the ship. "When did you two become Super Saiyans? And when did you create a new transformation?" Trunks asked, not believing his sister and Pan were now Super Saiyans, while Naruto has his own transformation, given they hadn't had such transformations a few days ago. "We trained all day yesterday," Bra answered, unable to resist messing with them. "We used the hyperbolic time chamber, along with drinking the ultra-divine water. Piccolo also trained with us and drank the water as well, while putting us through the ringer in the time chamber, helping them become Super Saiyans. Well, I perfected and mastered my Kaiohenshin, now I just have to improve it even further. Also, we'd show you proof, but we don't want to risk damaging the ship," clarified Naruto, making Goku and Trunks' eyes widen at hearing. "Oh, that's why you 3 feel so much stronger and look older," said Goku, having sensed the 3 were much stronger than they were earlier, along with looking older as well, with Trunks having also noticed the latter as well. With Pan's hair now being a bob style, similar to how her mother's used to look, with flat bangs over her forehead, and her orange bandana now tied around her forehead rather than over her head. Naruto looked taller and more muscular. And Bra was now wearing her longer hair in a ponytail with a bang hanging over her face, and to Trunks' dismay, she appeared to be an early bloomer as well. "No. My little sister can't look like that, it'll give guys the wrong idea. Trunks thought, feeling his overprotective brother instincts kicking in, knowing Bra seemed older already with the way she dressed. Now that she looked like it even more so, she'll attract all kinds of guys to her. But not if the older half-Saiyan has anything to say about it. Yeah, well Goten and I were way younger when we first became Super Saiyans. Trunks said, wanting to save face and some pride as the older sibling between him and Bra, by pointing out that he was a Super Saiyan at half her age. Actually Trunks, now that I'm really sensing their power, they seem to be at the same level you and Goten were when you faced Majin Buu, along with during the encounter with Hirudegarn. In fact, they might be slightly stronger from what I'm sensing. Said Goku, after taking a moment to get a good feel for the trio's power, making Trunks sulk in a corner at hearing this. With it being worse at realizing his baby sister, along with Pan and Naruto, were now stronger than he and Goten were currently. As Trunks will admit, his and Bra's father was right, he and Goten have both been slacking off during these peaceful times. Eventually, the half-Saiyan sighed in resignation as he stalked out of the control room. I'm gonna go use the gravity chamber. Trunks muttered, given this mission and these new revelations have showed him, he really needs to get back into shape. Count me in, it's been a while since I've trained under increased gravity. Said Goku as he got up and grinned, eager to use a gravity chamber again. We'll go too. Naruto said, grinning, while Pan and Bra nodded in agreement, all of them also eager for the chance to train under increased gravity. Earth. Meanwhile, back on Earth on top of the lookout, Gohan, Krillin, Vegeta, Videl, Marron, and 18 stood in front of Piccolo, with none of them looking happy. Given the Super Namekian had come clean about helping train Naruto, Pan, and Bra to help them on the mission, rather than try and stop them. And while they weren't happy about it, they also understood that the three would have snuck off, regardless of anything they said or did. With Piccolo having just ensured they were ready for whatever they may encounter and face. Plus, Vegeta couldn't deny the pride he felt at hearing his daughter was now Super Saiyan as well. Okay Piccolo, well I understand you helping Naruto, Pan, and Bra be prepared, and I'm thankful that they'll be able to take care of themselves. But what was the other reason you helped them? Gohan asked, looking at his surrogate uncle curiously, knowing Piccolo didn't help them just to be prepared for anything they'll face. With Piccolo looking at his former student before to the rest of the Z fighters. I never expected the Black Star Dragon Balls to return, I didn't think it'd be possible for anyone to ever even learn about them. Yet somehow, Pilaf of all people learned about them and where they were kept, which would have been worse if an actual threat learned about them. Not only that, but it's shown that no matter how peaceful things may seem or how long it's been since we've faced some world-destroying threat, there will always be a new threat. Whether it's a threat that originates from another planet or realm, or even one that had been developing in our own backyard, like with Jiro and Cell, there will always be something else around the corner. And we aren't always going to be around to fight whatever new enemy shows up. So, I took a page from Goku's book and am entrusting the next generation to handle the threats we won't be around to fight. Piccolo explained, as the others looked at him in surprise, but also understanding, since he was right, there'd always be some new threat. And with the resurgence of the Black Star Balls, which are now scattered across the entire universe, who knows what kind of new threats and enemies will come out of the woodworks, looking for them. Or learn where they originate from, which would lead them straight to Earth, where they'll have to fight, whether they like it or not. With Bulma. Come on. Ugh, why did I have to include so many parts on this ship? Bulma muttered as she went over all the parts of the ship, trying to find out about the part that fell off, but is so far having difficulty finding where it came from. Looking at the chip for a moment, Bulma continued her search until she stopped and smiled at finally finding it. Finally. Now, let's see where you said Bulma, only for her eyes to widen as she screamed in horror at seeing the chip came from one of the ship's stabilizers. Ship. Back on the ship, the crew had just exited the gravity chamber after spending several hours training within it. Only to cry out in surprise when the ship suddenly began shaking. What's happening? Whoa. Naruto shouted as they were suddenly thrown against the wall from the shaking. I don't know. Bra, come on, we gotta get to the controls. Said Trunks, with Bra nodding as they made their way to the control room to see what was happening, with Naruto, Pan, and Goku following after them. As the siblings checked to see what was wrong, they were horrified when they saw that one of the stabilizer jets had fallen off. We've lost one of the stabilizers. Said Trunks. How could we have lost one of the stabilizers? Wasn't everything right, Trunks? Bra said while glaring at her brother. What? Trunks said, not knowing why she was glaring at him. This is your fault. When you hit the wall when we took off, you must have knocked the stabilizer jet loose. Said Bra. Are you kidding me? This isn't my fault, I only lost my footing because Pan had abruptly launched the ship out of nowhere. If anything, it's her fault. Trunks snapped in annoyance, refusing to have all the blame put on him. My fault, I'm not the one who just stood around while the ship started. Retorted Pan. Enough. Let's just focus on not crashing. Naruto said, wanting to not have them play the blame game and instead focus on making sure the ship didn't crash. That's gonna be a little hard. We're gonna need to land sooner else the ship will be torn apart, said Bra, making Naruto, Pan, and Goku pale. Strap in, we're going in for a crash landing. Trunks said, knowing if they didn't land soon, then the ship would be ripped apart. Trunks and Bra piloted the ship as best as they could, searching for a planet they could land on until they spotted one. There, said Bra, while seeing a planet straight ahead of them. I see it. Everyone brace yourselves, this is gonna be a bumpy landing, said Trunks as everyone strapped themselves into their seats while the siblings flew towards the planet. Holding on tightly to their seats, everyone braced themselves as they descended down to the planet, landing in what looked like a desert. Feeling themselves lurch forward once they touched down, before the ship skidded across the ground and off a cliff until it finally landed upside down. Well, that could have gone better. Naruto muttered as they all let out sighs of relief that they survived and that the ship was still in one piece, for the most part. Ugh, any idea what planet we're on? Asked Pan as they unbuckled themselves and quickly landed on their feet. I'm not sure, but hopefully it's an inhabited one. Let's go see if we can find a town or city somewhere, one that'll hopefully sell the parts we need to repair the ship, said Trunks, the others nodding in agreement before they exited the ship and flew up into the air. It didn't take long before they caught sight of what looked like a city ahead of them, making the crew fly a little closer before landing just outside. Once they were inside the city, they looked around in amazement at the festive look of the city. Wow, it's like a festival is constantly going on, Naruto stated, with the others nodding in agreement. Yeah, just look at all that food, said Goku as he looked at the food hungrily, while Pan and Bra smiled and went over to a jewelry stand. Ooh, these are so pretty, Bra said, looking at the items in excitement, really glad she came now at getting a chance to see this stuff. Maybe it'd be good to get a place to stay here for the night and repair the ship in the morning, said Trunks, willing to admit that he was starting to want to look around too. Sounds good to me, Goku said, eager for the chance to try the food here. Me too, said Naruto, also wanting to look at everything that was here. Though suddenly, the group's attention turned to a large crowd of aliens rushing towards them, making them cringe nervously at the stampeding crowd. What Pan said, looking at the stampede nervously, as none of them had time to react before they were overrun by the crowd. When the dust finally cleared, the crew's eyes were wide open as they were now covered in strange clothing, makeup, and wigs. With them even being more freaked out when they began offering them even more stuff that they didn't want. So maybe we should stay somewhere else, Trunks suggested, now having second thoughts about staying here, with the preteens nodding in agreement while Goku happily ate the food he was given. Look, we're just looking for some parts for our spaceship. Do you have anything like that here? Asked Naruto, now wanting to get off this planet as soon as possible. Namekia is your one-stop shopping planet, the Namekian said, only to be knocked down by more Namekians, all of them offering spaceship parts for various prices, some of them already charging them. I hope you chose well, because there are no returns here, said a Namekian. What, you're kidding? Trunks said, not believing what was going on. As much as I like shopping, I suggest we run, find a place to stay the night, then leave, said Bra, with the others nodding rapidly in agreement before they ran away to escape the salesman. Later. Eventually, the crew was able to escape the Namekians and arrive at a nice-looking hotel, all of them looking around warily for any more salesmen. Do you see any salesmen? Trunks asked while looking around. No, so far so good, replied Pan. I don't see any either, Naruto said. Same, and I never thought I'd actually be glad to get away from people selling me stuff, said Bra, usually being excited at the idea of going shopping, but could now understand her father's annoyance whenever he takes her. I think we're in the clear, Pan said after a few moments, making them, besides Goku, sigh in relief. You seem disappointed with our accommodations, said the Namekian at the front desk, making them walk over. Sorry, but we just had a very trying experience, Trunks replied sheepishly, not wanting them to seem offensive or anything. Oh, it's very peaceful here, the Namekian stated. Great, then could we get a room please? Asked Trunks, with the Namekian nodding before grabbing a key. Yes, of course, said the Namekian, handing them a key before a robotic porter arrived and took their things, even grabbing Goku, making the de-aged Saiyan freak out, while Naruto, Pan, and Bra found it rather funny. The robot then took them up to their room, being shocked at how huge it was, along with being embarrassed when they learned it was the bridal suite. Though Pan and Bra did look at Naruto when they heard this, not having a problem if it was just them. Once the robot left, after demanding a tip from them, Trunks happily laid down on one of the beds, while Naruto sat down in a nearby chair, with Pan and Bra going to the bathroom to take a shower, and Goku got some food. with a whiskered blonde and half Saiyan turning on the TV, seeing it was the news talking about the leader of the planet, named Don Ki. With Naruto snickering after hearing the guy's name. "What's so funny, Naruto?" Trunks asked. "The guy's name is Don Ki, his name is literally donkey," said Naruto laughing, with Trunks laughing as well, after realizing he was right. Only to stop when Pan and Bra suddenly came running out of the bathroom, wearing nothing but towels. "What the hell? Pan, Bra, put some clothes on," Trunks said, covering his eyes, while Naruto found it hard to resist looking at the girls he likes, in nothing but towels. Only to realize now wasn't the time for such things by the looks on their faces. "Eyes, something's wrong," Bra said, freaking out. "The water in the shower, it won't turn off," said Pan, the two having tried turning the water off, but nothing worked. "Huh, what are you whoa?" said Trunks, getting up to check himself, only to cry out at a sudden chain stopping him. "What the hell?" said Naruto, seeing a chain around his waist and attached to the chair. "Trunks, Pan, Naruto, Bra, I found the fridge. This is great, the food just keeps coming." Goku cheered as he came sliding out in a pile of food. "This hotel is freaky, there was even a meter on the shower like a taxicab," Pan revealed, with Trunks and Naruto's eyes widening as they began realizing what was happening. "The number keeps getting higher and higher, it's already over 7,000, said Bra, as the boys soon began hearing a ticking sound coming from the furniture. Throwing the pillows and blankets off their eyes widen at seeing more meters, ones that going higher and higher. With Naruto noticing that it was the same case, with the chair he was sitting in, as well. "You've got to be kidding me, there's money meters everywhere," said Trunks, not believing they were literally being charged for everything in the room for every second. "Even the TV and lights have meters. What kind of money-hungry planet is this?" Naruto demanded. "They're even charging us for looking at decorations," Pan said in disbelief as she and Bra quickly got dressed, with none of them willing to stay here any longer. "I usually don't skip a check, but let's get out of here," said Trunks, breaking the chain around him, with Naruto doing the same. "Even my mom isn't this much of a miser," Naruto said, knowing his mother could sometimes be rather obsessed with money, but not to this extent. "We're leaving, Goku," said Bra, grabbing the mini Saiyan when he refused to leave the unlimited amount of food he was getting. The crew flying out the window without paying, given how they couldn't even pay for just one of the things they were being charged for. Soon landing on the outskirts of the city just as it started raining, making them curse their luck. Of all the planets we could have landed on, it had to be one filled with money-obsessed aliens. Trunks muttered, not believing their luck. "Let's just get back to ship and spend the night there," suggested Naruto. "Yeah, flying back to the ship in the middle of the night while it's raining. With us being wet, cold, tired, hungry, and stressed from being on what could be the most greedy planet in the entire universe. We'll be lucky if we don't get sick by the time we get there." Anne muttered in annoyance, but knew that they didn't have any other options, before crying out when she leaned back against what she thought was a wall, only for it to be a fake one. "Are you alright, Pan?" Bra asked, before freaking out at seeing an elderly Namekian couple inside. Hello. My name's Pan," Pan said awkwardly and nervously, while being worried that they'll try and sell them more stuff. Thankfully, however, they didn't try selling or charging them for anything, instead welcoming them inside. "We've never actually met any aliens before. I hope you're enjoying your stay on Nameca," the man said. "It's a nice place, but the people are strange," stated Pan, with Naruto and Bra nodding in agreement. "Yeah, it seems like all they care about is making money, like a bunch of greedy scammers," Bra said. "No offense to you or your people, but it just seems like we're being charged for everything we see or do," said Naruto, not wanting them to be offended. "Eyes, come on," Trunks said, not wanting them to offend their hosts, who so far haven't tried charging them. "It's fine, their honesty is rather nice. And unfortunately, they're also right," said the man. "Yes, it's shameful, but it's true. It's because of our leader, Don Ki, he's a money-hungry tyrant. He forces the Namekians to act the way they do to get more money from people who come to Nameca. And for those that don't get enough money, then he'll take stuff from those that don't make their payments," the woman said sadly, before everyone tensed at the sound of approaching sirens, before the wall was suddenly lifted up revealing pusherbits. "Nobody move. The rent on your house is due, produce the money to renew your lease, or we will repossess this dwelling," said the lead pusherbit, with the crew looking on in shock at the sight, while the couple looked at each other sadly, knowing they didn't have the money. "Your time to renew has expired, future rental inquiries must be made at the palace, we will now dismantle and repossess," the pusherbit said, before they actually began dismantling the house and taking it away, even the table and the roof. With the crew looking on in disbelief at what was happening, before looking at each other, knowing they had to do something to stop this. After leaving the Namekian family, the group had decided to head back to their ship, still thinking about the Namekians and what Don Ki is forcing them to do. I hope those nice people can find a way to get their problems sorted out. Goku said, wishing that they could do something. They'd offered to fight Don Ki and take him down, but the Namekians didn't want to cause even more problems by trying to fight against the tyrant. Yeah, I do too. Replied Trunks, also wanting to help but knowing there was nothing they could do, especially since they still had to find the Black Star Dragon Balls. It doesn't feel right just leaving and doing nothing. There has to be something we could do to help those people get their home back. Said Pan, not wanting to just leave the planet when they could try and do something. I say we just go and kick the ass's ass. Naruto said, hating Don Ki, or ass as he's begun calling him, for extorting the Namekians and anyone who comes to Namekia. It's hard, I know, but every planet has its share of problems. If we tried to solve all the problems ourselves, it would take a lifetime. And besides, if we don't find the Dragon Balls within a year, then the Earth is going to have a lot more problems than higher end. Trunks said, knowing that it was possible they'd encounter problems on the planets they went to, problems that they could help try to solve, but couldn't afford to waste any time. Hey, what if there's a Dragon Ball here? That way we'd be able to find one, while at least being able to try and help. Said Bra, since that way they'd be able to solve two problems at once, getting a Dragon Ball and helping the Namekians. Yeah, and we haven't checked to see if there's a Dragon Ball here, either. It wouldn't hurt to see if there is one. Pan added, hoping there is one, so they'd have more time to help the Namekians. No, we haven't, but I can tell you there isn't. Replied Trunks, given it'd be too convenient for them to find a Dragon Ball on the first planet they visit and how the Dragon Radar hadn't picked one up before they crash landed on Namekia. We could at least try checking to see if there is one. Stated Naruto, making Trunks' eye before pulling out the radar. If you insist. Trunks said, checking the radar to see if it'll pick up a Dragon Ball. Jiru, 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 Jiru. Though before the half Saiyan could check, he was startled by a sudden sound that made him drop the radar. The group seeing the radar hit what looked to be a half-buried robot in the sand, which still seemed to be active, as well as the source of the sound. Before to their horror, the robot looked at the radar and proceeded to swallow it. It just ate the radar. Bra shouted in horror that they lost the Dragon Radar. Without that radar our whole mission is ruined. Said Trunks, grabbing the robot to try and get the radar back, only for the robot to jump out the sand. You're now fully operational. Said the robot or Jiru, as its limbs came out of its body and began stretching. Hey. Give us back that radar, we need it. Naruto said, ready to break the robot open to get the radar back. Not capable. Device integrated into system. Said Jiru, having already integrated the Dragon Radar into his body and couldn't return it. That's our Dragon Radar. Without it, we can kiss Earth and our families goodbye. Said Trunks, grabbing Jiru to make return the radar. Already integrated, kiss goodbye. Jiru stated, much to Trunks' annoyance, only for things to get worse when they saw their ship was being towed away. Hey. That's our ship, you can't just take that. Shouted Trunks, wondering what else could go wrong, before he noticed that Jiru had managed to slip away from him. Not so fast. Naruto said, quickly grabbing Jiru before he could try escaping. Good job Naruto, now let's go get our ship back. Bra said, with the others nodding in agreement as Naruto handed Jiru to Trunks so he wouldn't try to escape again before flying off towards their ship and the thieves taking it. Hey. Where do you think you're going with our ship? Demanded Pan as they landed in front of the thieves, startling them before two of them stepped forward. We are Gale and Sheila, commissioners of Lord Don Ki. This ship is now property of Lord Don Ki to help pay off the debt you all owe him. Said Sheila, much to the group's anger and annoyance. Well, here's a message you can take back to Ass. He must be even stupider than he looks if he thinks we're going to let him take anything from us. Naruto retorted before charging forward and spin-kicking Sheila in the head, knocking her away before slamming his fist into Gale's face, taking him out as well. With Pan and Bra rushing to help him take down the thieves, knocking each of them out, one by one, until all of them were soon on the ground. Great work guys. Now let's get our ship and get out of here. Said Trunks, taking control of the carrier holding their ship and began driving it away, with the others landing on it, glad that they were able to get their ship back. Do you think that we may have more problems to deal with by attacking Don Ki's men? Goku asked, looking back at the unconscious thieves. If we do, then let the asshole send whoever he wants. We'll just take them out as well. Said Bra, eager for the chance to take down Don Ki if he does send more men after them. Though unknown to the group, someone soon flew down and landed by the unconscious thieves. The person being a tall alien with bluish-green skin, large ears on either side of his head, while wearing a purple unitard that left his chest exposed, red boots, and a red jacket with spikes on the shoulders and short metal chains hanging from the cuffs. This is Legic, who was known as Don Ki's bodyguard and his strongest soldier. Legic looked over Sheila, Gale, and the rest of the thieves with a frown, before looking to where he could see the ship being taken away. Narrowing his eyes to get a better look at who was taking the ship, Legic clenched his fists and growled at what he saw. Saiyans. Legic said lowly, seeing that the ship was being taken away by 5 Saiyans. Gathering up the commissioners and men, Legic took off back to Don Key's palace to inform him of just who was on a mecha. As well as informing the others, knowing they'll be especially interested to know there's a group of Saiyans here. Later. Once they had gotten the ship far enough away from the city and any attempts to take it again, Trunks began looking it over to see if anything else was damaged or taken by the thieves before they began towing it. While Naruto, Pan, and Bra were inside looking over Jiru to see if they could get the dragon radar back. Well, there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that the robot wasn't lying, the radar really has merged with his systems, we wouldn't be able to get it back, even if we took him apart. Said Bra, letting out a dejected sigh. What's the good news? Pan asked, wondering what could be good about this. The good news being that since the radar's now merged with him, we could still use him to locate the Black Star Dragon Balls. Bra replied, given if the radar's merged with Jiru, then he should be able to track the Dragon Balls for them. Would you be able to do that, Jiru? Can you locate the Dragon Balls? Questioned Naruto, looking at the robot, with Jiru nodding rapidly. Yes, Jiru can search for Dragon Balls with radar. Jiru will locate them no problem. Jiru replied before he turned around and a panel on his back opened up, revealing the dragon radar, making the 3 smile in relief. That's great. We'll still be able to find the Dragon Balls. Said Pan, glad that they can still complete their mission and save the Earth. Well, I'm afraid we won't be going anywhere for a while. Trunks said as he and Goku entered the ship. Why not? Naruto asked, with the half Saiyan sighing. Those thieves definitely weren't careful when they tried stealing the ship. We're gonna need more than a stabilizer before we can leave this planet. Replied Trunks, making the 3 groan in annoyance, since it was hard enough trying to find just a stabilizer, now they needed more parts. What about from the carrier? Could we try scavenging that for parts? Bra asked, hoping they could find some parts from the carrier to fix the ship. I already tried searching it, and while some may be able to work, we still need to go and get some new ones in town. Trunks said, having searched the carrier and took what he could. Guess there's no getting around it, then. Well, we can still take the carrier apart and salvage it, you never know when anything it has could be useful. Said Bra, still planning to take the carrier apart for salvage, along with seeing if they could make anything from the remaining parts of it. Yeah, but first things first, heading to town to get the parts for the ship so we can get out of here. Trunks stated, the others nodding in agreement before they took off flying towards town. Later. It wasn't long before they arrived back in town, while being more wary, both at potentially being seen by any of Don Key's men or being overwhelmed by Namekians trying to sell them stuff. Be careful, Trunks, we don't need them pushing anything onto us that we don't need. Pan said, having no desire to be sold stuff they couldn't pay for nor needed. Don't worry, I think I got the hang of this place now, after our first fiasco. Replied Trunks, now prepared to get in and get the parts, then get out as fast as they can. The group soon arrived at a shop that was selling plenty of machine parts. Hey, do you sell any spaceship parts? Bra asked the Namekian, who turned around and smiled at them. Of course, replied the Namekian, only to freeze when they saw who they were, before freaking out and pulling down a shutter. EA? Said Bra, surprised and confused at what just happened. Did it just get really quiet all of a sudden? Questioned Naruto, not hearing the previous talking from the Namekians buying stuff, the group looking only to see all the Namekians looking at them with fearful and panicked expressions. Before to their further confusion, they all screamed and ran away, while all the shops pulled down their shutters until the street was completely empty and deserted. What just happened? Pan asked in bewilderment, wondering why the Namekians suddenly ran away and closed up their shops after seeing them. Well, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but that guy seemed to be really scared of Bra. Said Goku, thinking that the Namekians were scared of Bra. What the hell is that supposed mean? Bra demanded, glaring at Goku for thinking it was her fault, while bringing her fist down on his head, making him yelp and grab his head in pain from the sudden blow. I don't think it was just Bra they were scared of. It's all of us. Naruto said when he spotted several wanted posters of them, all of them being less than flattering. All of them depicting either Goku sticking out his tongue and pulling down his eyelid, Trunks with a scar on his forehead and holding guns with a crazed expression, Pan laughing evilly and holding a knife, Bra with long nails, a forked tongue, and even scales, while Naruto had red eyes with black slits, more pronounced whisker marks, fangs, and claws. Oh great, it's just one thing after another on this planet. Goku, Pan, Bra, get over here. Said Trunks, not believing that they were now wanted criminals. Why are we on wanted posters? Pan shouted in shock and anger at how they depicted her. I guess we're now some of Emeka's wanted criminals. Trunks stated with a deadpan expression, not even surprised at this point with everything else that's happened. But we didn't do anything wrong. And I swear, when I find the bastards that made these posters, I am going to rip off their legs and kick what's left of their asses with them," yelled Bra, scowling as she ripped down the posters of her and tore them apart. "I'm guessing it's because we stopped Ass's men from stealing our spaceship," said Naruto, frowning while grabbing a poster of him, silently admitting that it actually did look pretty cool, before discreetly pocketing it as a souvenir. "But that's ridiculous. They were stealing what was rightfully ours, we were just stopping them. And what the hell is with this picture, it doesn't look anything like me," Pan screamed, tearing apart a poster of her as well. Though before the group could think of something to do, their attention turned to the sound of approaching sirens with several cars arriving as dozens of police officers ran towards them. "There they are, men. After them," one of the officers shouted. "What should we do, guys?" Goku asked, wondering if they should stay and fight or run. "I think it'd be best if we ran. Otherwise, we'll really look like criminals for beating up the police," answered Pan, with the others nodding in agreement. "As much as I'd like the chance to find Ass and take him down, it would be better if we didn't make things worse for ourselves," Naruto added in agreement before the group took off running. Thankfully, they managed to escape the police by ducking into an alley where they waited until it was safe to come out. Once the police were gone, the group tried finding any shops that'd be willing to sell them the parts they need, only for all the shops to be closed and refuse to do business with them. But things only getting worse when it started raining again as they wandered around town trying to figure out what to do. "It seems like nothing's been going right ever since we left. First landing on this planet and being charged for everything we do, then being trapped out in the rain, with the radar then getting eaten while our ship was almost stolen, and now we're criminals with no one willing to sell us any parts. And it's raining again. Seriously, how is this even a desert planet when it's been raining every night since we got here?" Pan shouted in frustration. "At this rate, we'll be lucky if we find one Dragon Ball," said Bra, doubting they'll even be able to find all the Black Star Dragon Balls at this rate. "Well, we can't lose faith, everything happens for a reason. Do you want to go back to the ship?" Trunks asked as he and Goku turned to look at them, with the three shaking their heads. "No, it wouldn't make any difference since we just need to come back here anyway to get the parts," Naruto replied, not wanting to make the trip again. "Oh man, I'm really hungry," said Goku, falling on his butt and holding his stomach. "What else is new?" Pan snapped, not in the mood to hear her de-aged grandfather complaining about food, only to fall silent when her own stomach rumbled as well. "We can't really talk, Pan, given we haven't eaten anything since yesterday," said Bra, also getting hungry, before they all heard Jiru start making noise in Trunks' bag, none of them wanting to take the chance of the robot trying to escape if they left him alone at the ship, or worse, if he tried eating anything else. "Hang on, I think he's trying to tell us something," Trunks said, opening his bag, only for his eyes to widen when Jiru showed a radar with a lot of dots heading straight for them. "Guys, we gotta get moving or we're gonna have company," said Trunks, knowing they had to get away before more police show up. The group nodding in agreement before jumping up to the rooftops, not wanting to risk flying and being spotted or getting separated in the rain. "Ugh. I swear I'm starting to reconsider not just attacking so we can just take the parts we need," Bra said, tempted to just fight the police so they can go take the parts for their ship. "I'm right behind you, there. Seriously, we take back our own ship from nearly being stolen and we're the criminals," Pan exclaimed in agreement. "As much as I'd enjoy finding Ass and taking him down, we can't beat up the police or we really will be criminals. Besides, we can't just take the parts either, since the Namekians themselves haven't done anything wrong," Naruto stated, also not liking it but knew they couldn't make things worse for themselves. "Naruto's right. Well, I don't like it either, we can't just fight everyone we encounter or we'll just be inviting trouble. It wouldn't be a big deal if we could just leave, but without the parts for the ship, we're stuck here," Trunks added, understanding the girl's frustration, but knew they had to do things carefully. "But given how no one will sell them the parts, that may take longer than they'd like." "Jiru, Jiru, 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 Jiru," Jiru said from inside Trunks' bag. "Oh, would you shut up?" said Pan, banging on the small robot a few times before the door to the roof suddenly opened, revealing a female Namekian who stared at them in surprise. "Who are you?" the Namekian asked warily. "We're visitors from Earth. And even though we're on your most wanted list, we're actually really good people," Goku replied smiling before Pan quickly covered his mouth. "Grandpa," hissed Pan, since this lady didn't seem to know they were criminals and could have helped them. Only for the Namekian to scream and run away, which also got the attention of the police, forcing the group to run away again to avoid being captured. But during their escape, they ended up jumping on a roof that collapsed underneath them, sending the Saiyans and human falling into the building. "I'm really starting to hate this planet," Pan muttered as they picked themselves. "Ditto," said Bra, wanting nothing more than to leave this planet for any other one. "Yep. Naruto added, feeling the same as his friends. Alright, put them up. Someone said, getting the group's attention, seeing that they landed in the home of an elderly Namekian couple, with a woman holding a broom towards them like a weapon. Freeze, don't move. You're those violent criminals we've heard about. Said the female Namekian. Wait, please listen, that's not true. Said Pan, hoping to convince them they weren't criminals or dangerous. Hold it, Pan. Please forgive us for barging in. Trunks said to the couple, knowing even if they did convince them they weren't criminals, they couldn't get them involved in their troubles. Yeah, sorry about breaking your roof. Added Goku. We'll just go, we don't want to give you all any trouble. Said Naruto, surprising the Namekians as the group went to leave, before Goku's stomach growled again. Grandpa, not now. Pan said, not wanting them to get caught again, because of his stomach. I can't help it, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Goku replied, not able to stop his stomach from growling when he hasn't eaten anything for a while. Wait kids, there's no need to leave, stay a while and eat something. Said the female Namekian, putting down her broom upon seeing that they weren't dangerous criminals, while the group looked at them in surprise. You must be brave to have attacked Don Key's men, it's been a long time since anyone has tried standing up to him. The female Namekian added, knowing no one on Nameca was brave enough to stand against Don Key and his men. It was nothing, he tried stealing our ship and we just took back what was ours. I guess ass isn't used to not getting his way. Replied Naruto, making the couple laugh slightly. Ah yes, I'd give anything to light a fire under him myself, but I'm getting too old for that now. Said the male Namekian, glad to hear the trouble they've caused for Don Key. Hey, you're never too old or young to stand against a tyrant. Bra stated, smiling at the couple. Oh, you're all so nice. Come, I'll make us some food. Said the female Namekian, much to the group's relief to get something to eat. While it wasn't much, the group was thankful to finally have something to eat as they all sat down together. So, they tried taking your spaceship. And you stopped them? Asked a female Namekian. Yeah. They were working for Don Key, his commissioners or whatever, and actually thought we'd just stand aside and let them take it. I swear it makes me want to scream. Pan answered with a scowl, still angry about that. Yes, it's not fair, even worse that Don Key made it illegal to own a ship. Revealed the female Namekian, as they both lowered their heads sadly, while the group were shocked to hear this. Why would he do that? Trunks asked, not understanding why it'd be made illegal to own a ship. Isn't it obvious? With how he charges everyone for everything here, who wouldn't want to try and leave? By taking away their ships, they can't escape and anyone that comes here would have their ships taken as well, leaving them trapped. Said Naruto, scowling in anger at Don Key basically turning Nameca into a giant prison planet for anyone who comes here, while the couple nodded at his words. That's correct, it's his way of making sure no one can leave Nameca. Because the conditions here are so unreasonable, most would leave if they had the opportunity. The female Namekian said sadly. We're basically slaves, even if not literally, due to how high the taxes and rent are, Don Key practically owns us. Added the male Namekian. That's awful. That means there must be other people here who had their ships taken as well. Bra said while frowning sadly. Yes, there are, including us. We landed in Don Key's web long ago, he's like a spider, slowly sucking the life out of us to feed his own greed and desires. But look, our hearts are still beating. We still have hope that great changes will take place on Nameca. Said the female Namekian with a smile, still having hope that they'll be free of Don Key one day. You guys should team up. Together, I'm sure all of you could take down Don Key. Pan said, given how easily they took down his men before, then they'd be able to defeat Don Key and take back their freedom. Pan. Said Trunks while looking sternly at her, not wanting them to start a revolt and potentially a civil war. I wish we could, but Don Key has several powerful bodyguards, each of them strong enough to wipe out an army by themselves. There are 5 of them in total, they're called Chidori, Kalapa, Garana, Banyu, and Legic. Said the elder Namekian, making the group frown at hearing Don Key had powerful fighters working for him, before Naruto stood up and headed for the door. Naruto? Where are you going? Trunks asked warily, as Naruto looked at them. I'm going up to the palace and I'm taking ass down. He has no right trapping people on this planet just to satisfy his own greed while hiding behind his bodyguards like a coward. Said Naruto, surprising the group before Pan and Bra stood up and joined him. Naruto's right. It's time we stopped tiptoeing around this bastard and showed him what we can do. Bra said in agreement, refusing to stand by and do nothing. Yeah, and we have to take him down. As long as he's in control, then no one will be able to leave, get food, and we won't be able to get the parts we need. So now it's time we stopped running and showed that asshole what we can do. Added Pan, before the 3 took their leave. Good idea. Goku said, running after them, eager for the chance for a fight. Hey, wait for me. Said Trunks, running after them, seeing they wouldn't be deterred from taking the fight to Don Key. Heading outside, the group was greeted to the sight of dozens of officers searching for them before they saw the group coming out and looked at them. Only for the police to be shocked when they held out their arms. "Alright, we're surrendering. Take us in and bring us to your leader," Naruto said as the police placed the handcuffs on them and brought them into custody before taking them to the palace. Only for them to scream in horror as one of the cops decided to play their favorite songs on the radio, which just so happened to be the Friday song. Later. After arriving at the palace, the Saiyans and human broke their handcuffs before fighting their way straight to Don Key's office, throwing the last guard through the doors, knocking them down. "Who let you off your leashes? Sheila, get in here, you two Gale," Don Key shouted, seeing the prisoners had escaped despite just hearing they were captured. "Hate to say it, but no one's coming," said Trunks, knowing anyone that would hear him was now unconscious. There's no way, you're lying," said Don Key, turning on the monitors only to see all his guards were unconscious throughout the palace. "So, your ass. I have to say, you look even stupider in person," Naruto said with a smirk, much to Don Key's anger. "They ask my name is Don Key, Lord Don Key to filthy criminals like you," yelled Don Key, with Naruto's smirk only growing. "That's what I said, ass, cause that's your name and what you are," Naruto taunted, with the tyrant growing angrier. "You damn brats. You'll regret coming to my planet and attacking my palace. Die," Don Key shouted, pressing a button and activating the hidden artillery he had in his office, with all of it immediately opening fire at the Saiyans and the human. The sight making Don Key laugh, believing he'd won and killed the intruders, only for his laughing to end when the smoke cleared and revealed that all of them were perfectly fine. "So was that supposed to hurt?" Bra asked with a smirk, knowing it'd take a lot more than that to hurt them. What, you're still alive?" screamed Don Key, not believing they survived his weapons before the group sensed 5 signatures appear behind them. Looking, they saw Legic and who they guessed were Chidori, Kalapa, Garana, and Banyu. Chidori appears as a humanoid with an extension on his head acting like a hair wick. Kalapa is an elderly, green-skinned alien with multiple spikes protruding from his head, a scar over his right eye, and an X-shaped scar on his cheek. Garana looked like a gorilla-like humanoid with a yellow mohawk hairdo. And Banyu is a chubby and busty alien with light red skin, a long white hair ponytail, and thin, angular eyebrows. Though what surprised the group was, aside from Legic, all of them were wearing armor belonging to the Frieza Force. With Goku from having seen it on Namek, while Naruto, Pan, Bra and Trunks heard of it from their parents. "You cannot defeat foes like this with conventional weaponry," Legic stated, knowing it'll take more than normal weapons to defeat Saiyans. "Then you 5 deal with them, now. Kill these intruders," Don Key ordered. "What have I said about ordering us around?" said Legic with a threatening undertone, not liking to be ordered around by the fool. PL please take care of them," asked Don Key, knowing that even if he paid them they wouldn't hesitate to kill him if angered. "Hey, you guys are wearing the same armor as Frieza's men did on Namek. Did you work for him?" Goku asked. "We did, until you killed Lord Frieza, Saiyan. Since then, the Frieza force has collapsed, with us being forced to become mercenaries. But now we get a chance to avenge him by killing you," Chidori shouted while glaring at the Saiyans. Well, technically, I didn't kill Frieza, Trunks did. He actually also killed Frieza's dad too," said Goku while pointing at Trunks, much to his disbelief. What, no, I didn't. I mean technically, it was me, but not actually me. It was the other me from the other future," Trunks said, knowing that technically, he did kill Frieza and King Cold, but it was a different version of himself. "Enough of your tricks, Saiyan. If you are the one who killed King Cold, then I will avenge him by taking your head," shouted Kalapa, charging Trunks and kicking him through the ceiling back outside. "I can sense the power within that boy, leave him to me," Legic said, looking at Goku before firing several Kai blasts at him, which the de-aged Saiyan dodged, causing them to destroy the far wall, with Goku flying out followed by Legic. "Fine. We'll take the other 2 brats," said Chidori, rushing at Pan, who dodged his strike and flew up out of the palace, with Chidori flying after her. "You're mine, little girl," Garana roared while charging Bra, who immediately flew up and kicked him in the jaw. "I'll show you little, you damn dirty ape," said Bra, before spin-kicking Garana in the head, sending him flying through the wall with the blue net flying after him. "So, guess that just leaves you and me," Naruto stated, looking at Banyu, while getting into a stance. "HMPH, to think I'm being forced to fight a child. But I must avenge Lord Frieza, and even those fools in the Jinyu Force, despite how I found their posing detestable," said Banyu, having once been part of the Jinyu Force, but left since she couldn't keep up with their posing, which she found annoying. Banyu then rushed Naruto, while covering her fist in purple energy which she slammed into his chest, with the whiskered blonde thankfully managing to block the punch by raising his arms. Though grunted in pain from the hit and was sent flying through a wall, with Banyu flying after him. Riding himself in midair, Naruto ducked under a kick from Banyu, giving her an uppercut that sent the alien spinning through the air. The fighter flying at her to continue the assault, delivering a spin kick to the back of her head, sending her flying away before Banyu managed to right herself. Blast ball. Banyu shouted, throwing multiple blue orbs at Naruto, which he dodged before pulling his hand back and charging up a blue energy sphere. Our blitz, said Naruto, throwing his hand forward and firing a blue wave at Banyu, the woman quickly moving off to the side to avoid the blast. Though suddenly, Naruto cried out when he hit in the back by a laser, looking Naruto's eyes widened in surprise when he saw the energy orbs that Banyu threw were still around. The orbs floating in the air before suddenly firing lasers at him, forcing the fighter to dodge. Like my blast balls. They're fully autonomous, capable of moving around on their own, and will fire lasers at my enemies. So, it's not just me you have to worry about. Blast shower. Banyu yelled, firing off rapid electrical beams at Naruto, forcing him to dodge not just her attacks, but her blast balls. Dodging the attacks, Naruto quickly flew up into the air before raising his hands to his forehead. Solar flare. Naruto said before white light was fired out, as Banyu cried out at suddenly being blinded by the bright light. This gave Naruto an opening to get in close, slamming his fist into her face, sending the alien careening towards the ground. The whiskered blonde flying down after her and delivering an axe kick that sent her crashing into the ground. Though that didn't keep her down for long, as Banyu quickly got up and flew after him, with Naruto about to charge her as well, only to be forced to dodge out of the way of more laser fire from the blast balls. This giving Banyu her own opening as she got in close to Naruto before taking a deep breath, with the next thing Naruto knew, he was hit by a sonic scream. The scream forcing Naruto to cover his ears, only to cry out when the blast balls hit him with multiple lasers, sending him crashing into the ground. Groaning at the attacks and feeling his head ringing from the screaming, Naruto managed to stand up and shake off the damage. Really glad I drank the ultra-divine water after Pan, Bra, and Piccolo. Naruto thought, since he could feel the damage he took slowly healing with his power also increasing. Okay, let's see what you can really do. Naruto shouted, charging Banyu again to resume the fight. With Trunks. Meanwhile, Trunks was engaging Kulapa in the sky above the palace, the half-Saiyan ducking under a punch from Kulapa before slamming his knee into his head. Grunting at the hit, Kulapa soon recovered and kicked his legs out into Trunks' chest, knocking him back. Eraser gun. Kulapa yelled, firing a powerful mouth beam at Trunks. Double buster. Shouted Trunks, bringing his arms to the sides of his chest before throwing them forward, releasing a large golden wave which collided against Kulapa's eraser gun. The two attacks colliding against each other, triggering an explosion, with Kulapa immediately flying through it and delivering a punch to Trunks' face, the half-Saiyan grunting at the hit. Before gasping, when Kulapa followed by bringing his knee up into his stomach, knocking the wind out of him, before slamming his clasped hands down onto his back. The combo sending Trunks falling from the air, before he managed to catch himself. Shaking off the blows, Trunks managed to grab hold of Kulapa's foot when he tried hitting him with a dive kick, pulling the alien close before the perplet smashed his fist into Kulapa's face. Behind you. Trunks shouted, quickly speeding behind Kulapa and kicking him away. You can stop this now. We're not interested in fighting any of you, we're only trying to get off this planet. Said Trunks, trying to stop them from wasting even more time when they needed to fix their ship and get back to their mission. I'll never stop, not until King Cold has been avenged. And none of you Saiyans will ever leave this planet alive. Maximum Buster. Kulapa shouted, bringing his hands up and forming a yellowish-orange energy orb, which he then fired at Trunks as a large energy wave. The half-Saiyan quickly flying up and dodging the wave, only to grunt when Kulapa suddenly appeared above, giving Trunks an axe kick to his back. The alien flying down after Trunks punching him repeatedly, making him pick up speed as he fell to the ground. Before finally grabbing hold of the perplet and begun spinning around in the air, throwing him straight into the ground where he crashed. Grunting at the pain, Trunks got up and shook his head before immediately flying up at Kulapa, dodging a strike from him and slamming his fist into his face. Fine, you wanna fight so badly, then let's go. Retorted Trunks, seeing no way to end this without a fight, before kicking the alien in the side, launching him through the air with Trunks quickly following after him. Punching him repeatedly, Trunks gave one final punch that sent Kulapa flying through the sky, with the perplet quickly speeding ahead of him ready to attack him once he was close enough. Only to be surprised when Kulapa recovered and used his increased speed to instead crash straight into Trunks, grabbing hold of the Saiyan as he did so. Don't underestimate me, Saiyan. I trained over 8,000 of Lord Frieza's soldiers and was already a veteran fighter under his father. Kulapa shouted, before flying up and throwing Trunks towards the ground, firing a large Kai blast at the half-Saiyan. Crying out at the blast, Trunks managed to fly out of the way in time to avoid being further damaged, only for Kulapa to be on him again, delivering a spin kick to the perplexed back and knocking him back. Catching himself in midair, Trunks turned back and rushed Kulapa as they collided again. With Goku. Not far from where Trunks was fighting Kulapa, Goku was engaging Legic as well, dodging the alien strikes before grabbing hold of his leg. Shouting, Goku threw Legic across the sky, only for Legic to fire multiple Kai blasts at the Saiyan, consuming him in a large explosion. Looking through the smoke, Legic broke off the 2 spikes on his jacket, with them growing and turning into dual swords. Though the alien then sensed something behind him and quickly swung his sword just as Goku appeared, only for him to be forced to dodge the sword strike. Before Legic then began thrusting both of his swords at the de-aged Saiyan rapidly, until Goku managed to grab hold of one of them. Followed by the second, when Legic brought it down on him. The two trying to overpower the other, with Goku having some difficulty due to his small size and not having his normal strength. But after a moment, Goku managed to break the swords, only to gasp in pain when Legic slammed his foot into his chest, sending the Saiyan crashing through the palace. As Legic then reappeared ahead of Goku, delivering an uppercut to him, sending the Saiyan crashing back into the palace. Breaking one of the spikes off his jacket again, Legic turned it into a spear as he charged towards Goku, who managed to recover from the previous attacks and dodge the spear strike. Only for Legic to then spin it around and slam the shaft into Goku, sending him crashing towards the ground. With Goku being able to catch himself and fly back up, looking at Legic and seeing just how strong he was. "I have to admit, you are really powerful," Goku stated, knowing he shouldn't underestimate Legic, along with wondering why he hadn't been with Frieza on Namek if he's this strong. "Don't patronize me, I know you're holding back." "As am I, Saiyan," retorted Legic, feeling that Goku was holding back, something that annoyed him, not liking it when opponents held back their true strength. "Okay then, let me show you what I can do," shouted Goku, powering up before charging Legic again, who raised his spear but was surprised when Goku punched straight through it and hit him in the face. The de-aged Saiyan taking advantage of his smaller body to quickly maneuver behind Legic and slam his fist into his back, sending him falling to the ground. "Kamehameha," Goku shouted, firing the Kai blast at the alien, with Legic being able to catch himself and actually smack the Kamehameha away from him. "Ha!" yelled Legic, launching his own giant Kai blast at Goku, with his succeeding in hitting his opponent, sending Goku flying up into the air, with the Saiyan grunting at the blast hitting him before getting out of the way. Only for Legic to be on him again, giving Goku a kick to the head, knocking him away before reappearing in front of him, slamming his elbow into his back. The de-aged Saiyan managing to recover from the hits and charged at Legic again as they resumed their clash. With Pan. While with Pan, her fight against Chidori had gone from being in the air to down on the ground, with the mercenary turning out to be stronger than he appeared. Pan grunting when Chidori slammed his fist into her stomach, knocking the wind out of her, before she raised her head and smacked it against his chin. The hit dazing him for a moment, leaving him open as Pan flipped backwards, kicking him in the face as she did so. "Lysenko ha," Pan said, raising her hands above her head, before firing a yellow energy wave at Chidori, who raised his arms to block the blast. "Ha!" shouted Chidori, firing his own Kai blast, with it cutting through Pan's Lysenko and impacting the quarter Saiyan, who cried out at the hit. Before gasping when Chidori appeared behind her, bringing his elbow down on her back, before grabbing her by her hair and throwing her into the air. "Say goodnight, Saiyan," Chidori shouted, creating an energy orb before firing it as a massive wave at Pan. Quickly getting out of the way, Pan held back a scream of pain when the attack still managed to hit her, thankfully not dead on. The Ravenet then rushed Chidori, ducking under a kick from the alien, before grabbing his leg and flip him over her shoulder, slamming him into the ground. Only to be sent reeling back when Chidori kicked his other leg out and hit her in the face, sending Pan stumbling back. But Chidori taking advantage of this as he got up and rushed Pan, slamming his fist into the side of her head before giving her a spin kick knocking her across the ground. Speeding ahead of her, Chidori grabbed Pan out of the air before immediately slamming her back onto the ground. "Not so tough now, are you, Saiyan?" Chidori taunted as Pan turned her head and glared at him. "Maiden's burst." Pan screamed, releasing a large amount of Crimson's energy from her body, throwing Chidori back and allowing her to get back up. Rushing the alien, Pan gave an axe kick to his head, sending it smashing into the ground before picking him up by his armor and throwing him into the air. "Maiden's rage," shouted Pan, charging 2 crimson energy spheres with blue electricity arsing off them, which she then brought together and fired at Chidori, who was able to recover in time to dodge the attack and charge Pan again. Chidori giving a shout as he fired a Kai blast, point blank at Pan, sending her flying across the ground before she crashed down, with Chidori flying after her. "Is that all you got, girlie?" said Chidori with a mocking smirk while Pan got up. You haven't seen anything. Pan retorted before charging the alien and slamming her fist into his face. With Bra. Meanwhile, Bra was fighting Garana throughout the palace, finding the gorilla-like alien was much more durable than she expected, as her attacks were just brushed off, along with being much stronger as well. Garana roared, firing a giant mouth beam at Bra, who was able to get out of the way in time. Shine shot. Bra shouted, creating a ball of fire in her hand, which she threw at Garana, hoping that it will be effective against him. Only to grunt in pain when the alien jumped at her through the fireball and grabbed hold of her, slamming the half-Saiyan into the ground. Before he then picked her up and smashed his fist into her, sending Bra crashing through a wall with Garana running after her. Standing up, Bra just barely managed to avoid getting tackled by Garana again, taking the chance to get behind him and slam her foot into the back of his head. Though like with the rest of her attacks, it only sent him stumbling slightly before he was quickly on her again. With Bra quickly flying up into the air to get out of his reach before aiming her index and middle finger at him. "Dirty fireworks," said Bra, triggering an explosion around Garana to try and stall him long enough for her to think of a way to take him down. Unfortunately, Bra didn't have time to react as Garana jumped through the smoke towards, spinning in the air before slamming his down on her, knocking the half-Saiyan back down to the ground. Ahahahahaha. Garana laughed as he began firing a barrage of Kai blasts at Bra, creating a large cloud of smoke as he didn't stop until he was sure she was dead. Though once he finally stopped, Garana grunted when Bra flew out of the smoke and slammed her fist into his face before aiming her palm at him. "Big bang attack," yelled Bra, creating a large energy sphere around Garana, which she then fired into the air before it exploded, destroying a good portion of the palace, with Garana soon coming crashing back down to the ground, making the brunette smirking at seeing he was finally starting to show some damage. Only for her smirk to vanish when he got back up, not looking the least bit winded, before immediately charging her again. "Fine then, let's see how much punishment you can take," Bra shouted, charging him as well, with their fists collided together and releasing a shockwave as they resumed their clash. With Naruto. Back with Naruto, his fight against Banyu was becoming easier as his pure progress and mimicry began helping him keep up with her while copying her fighting style and attacks. Even with her blast balls shooting at him, he's gotten better at avoiding them and her attacks while managing to land a few of his own. "Hell's grenade," Naruto shouted, firing off dozens of Kai blasts at Banyu, with the alien dodging all of the blasts as she did so. Only for her eyes to widen when she saw that rather than dissipate or hit anything, the blast stayed suspended in midair. Before Naruto threw his hands together as they all converged towards her, with Banyu doing her best to avoid them all and fly up into the air to escape the explosion. But was stopped when Naruto reappeared above her, then to her further surprise, he took a deep breath before releasing a loud Kai-powered sonic scream that sent her crashing back to the ground. With the remaining Hell's grenades converging on her again and hitting the alien. "How did you use my sonic scream?" Banyu demanded as she got up, wanting to know how he used her own attack. "The same way I can use this, blast ball," shouted Naruto, firing several blue energy balls at Banyu that stayed suspended in the air before they began firing lasers at her. With Banyu mentally cursing before quickly flying out of the way as Naruto's own blast ball shot at her and her own. "Infinity bullet," Naruto said, raising his hands and charging a blue energy sphere that unleashed dozens of energy blasts at Banyu, the alien scowling at this before she quickly flew back down to the ground to avoid being hit. Landing, Banyu began grabbing multiple rocks and pieces of debris, which soon began glowing as she filled them with her Kai. Once the items were significantly charged, Banyu began throwing them at Naruto and his blast balls, the sight confusing him for a moment. Only to be shocked when the rocks began exploding when they got close to him, forcing him to fly away to avoid getting caught in the explosions. "Don't think you can get away that easily. Self-destruction," Banyu yelled as her blast balls immediately flew towards Naruto before detonating in large explosions, making Naruto lose control and fall to the ground. Groaning at the explosions, Naruto's eyes widened when he saw Banyu lifting up a large piece of debris, with it soon starting to glow, before she threw it at him. Quickly getting out of the way, Naruto raised his arms as he formed an android to shield himself from the large explosion that was released when the debris hit the ground. "What kind of attack is that?" Naruto said, wondering how Banyu was able to make things explode like that. "Wouldn't you like to know?" "Hold still, and you'll find out," said Banyu, rushing Naruto to grab hold of him, with the whiskered blonde immediately flying into the air, feeling he should avoid her touching him. "Okay, you want to take things up a notch, then watch this. Kaio Henshin," Naruto shouted as he was surrounded by a red flame-like aura as he transformed, with his eyes gaining a red glow. With Banyu being surprised at the sudden transformation and how much stronger Naruto suddenly became before he vanished in front of her. The alien crying out when Naruto appeared behind her, smashing his fist into her back, sending her crashing into the ground. "Dead end rain," yelled Naruto as a bright red light surrounded his body before he began firing off multiple red energy waves at Banyu and the area surrounding her. Once he stopped the attack, he was forced to get out of the way as Banyu launched more exploding objects at him before flying up out of the smoke, showing most of her armor was damaged. Okay, so you've got some more tricks to use. Let's see how long they last. Banyu shouted before charging Naruto. With Trunks, the half Saiyan was starting to get tired from the fight, while seeing that Kaluppa was also beginning to get tired as well. You can still stop and leave, we don't have to keep fighting. Trunks said, only for the alien to growl and charge him. Never. Not until you've paid for King Cold's demise. Shouted Kaluppa as he charged up an attack, making Trunks sigh, knowing this won't end until one of them is dead. Then I'm ending this now. Hi. Trunks screamed as he powered up to a Super Saiyan, the release of energy throwing Kaluppa back from the force. The alien looking at the Super Saiyan in shock at the power he was releasing, before crying out when Trunks vanished and reappeared behind him. The half Saiyan slamming his elbow into Kaluppa's back, sending him crashing towards the ground. Only Trunks didn't let him hit the ground as he reappeared beside Kaluppa and gave him a kick to the side. Buster Cannon. Trunks shouted, charging 2 blue energy spheres before combining them together and firing a massive energy wave at Kaluppa. The attack hitting the alien, who cried out in pain before his entire body was vaporized by the blast. Seeing his opponent was taken care of, Trunks released a breath before dropping his transformation. Better go see if the others need any help or if they're already done. Trunks said before flying off to check on the others. With Goku, he and Legic were locked in a close combat fight, trading punches and kicks before slamming their fists into the other's face, sending them flying away from each other. Both of them starting to pant lightly, but refusing to give up. You're still holding back, Saiyan. Legic shouted, sensing that Goku still wasn't trying his best, which only served to further annoy him. Sorry. I just have trouble going all out at the start of a good fight. This time I'll really show you what I can do. Hi. Yelled Goku as he was surrounded by a golden aura before he soon powered up into a Super Saiyan, glad to see he could still handle the transformation in his younger body. What? Said Legic, not expecting the sudden transformation. Before he gagged when Goku rushed him and slammed his fist into his stomach, with the alien quickly grabbing the spikes on his cuffs and went to stab Goku with them. Only for the de-aged Saiyan to deflect them and kick Legic in the chin with his feet before proceeding to unleash a combo of punches and kicks. Ending it after dodging a punch from Legic before slamming his foot into his head and sending him crashing onto the roof of the palace. Grunting, Legic stood up before aiming his hand at Goku and firing off his strongest Kai blast at the Super Saiyan while Goku got into a familiar stance. Hi. Goku shouted, firing his Kamehameha at Legic, his blast blowing right past the alien's own and slamming into Legic. The attack sending Legic crashing back into Don Key's office, much to the tyrant's shock and horror at seeing his strongest bodyguard get taken down. Oh man, that was a great fight. We should do it again sometime, but maybe after I'm back to normal. Said Goku as he powered down and flew off to check on the others. With Pan. Meanwhile, Pan and Chidori were going at each, neither of them refusing to give up or back down. You should just give up, little girl. I'm stronger than you, smarter than you, and I'm faster than you. Chidori shouted as he managed to slam his foot into Pan's chest, sending her flying through the air before he appeared above her and delivered an axe kick to her back, sending the quarter Saiyan crashing into the ground. Even if you are a Saiyan, you're no match against me. Taunted Chidori as Pan shot up, panting lightly. You say you're smarter, yet you actually believe that I'd ever give up or that you've seen what I can really do. Here, let me show you. Hi. Pan screamed as she began powering up. What Chidori screamed in shock as Pan was surrounded by a golden aura as her power grew even stronger. Before her hair spiked up and turned a golden color while her eyes turned turquoise that glared up at Chidori. Then without warning, Pan vanished, only to appear in front of Chidori, slamming her fist into his face and knocking him back before reappearing behind him and grabbed the alien by his armor. Spinning through the air, Pan threw Chidori right back towards the ground. Maiden's rage. Shouted Pan, firing the energy wave at Chidori, who didn't even have time to scream as the attack consumed and vaporized his body. Stopping her attack and seeing her opponent was done for, Pan powered down, glad to see the fight was over. Hope the others are done with their fights. Pan muttered before flying off to check on the others. With Bra cried out as Garana managed to grab hold of her, wrapping his arms around her and began squeezing. Haha. I have you now, little girl, and soon I'll break you in half, then do the same to your little friends. Laughed Garana while squeezing the half Saiyan tighter, making Bra grunt in pain. You stupid thick-headed bastard. Ai. Bra screamed as she was surrounded by a golden aura that threw Garana back and freed her. Screaming loudly, Bra's hair soon freed itself from its ponytail and spiked up, along with turning a bright gold color with her eyes turning bluish-green and losing their pupils. "Let's see you survive this," shouted Bra, holding her arms out and charging up 2 energy orbs, similar to her father's final flash. "Spiral flash," Bra yelled, putting her hands together and shooting a large double spiral blast at Garana. The gorilla-like alien tried getting out of the way, only scream in pain as the attack hit him, launching him into the air before the attack soon blasted straight through his body. With Bra soon stopping the blast and the panting, before powering down. "Now who's broken in half?" said Bra, before flying off to find the others. With Naruto. Meanwhile, Naruto's fight against Banyu had entered a stalemate despite his transformation, due to him being unable to get in close and avoid her attempt to grab him by keeping his distance. While Banyu kept throwing exploding objects at him to find an opening to grab him. Leaving the two simply trade attacks, all while both looked for their chance to get the upper hand against the other. "Last shower," Banyu shouted, firing multiple electrical beams at Naruto. "Photon bomber," said Naruto, creating a crimson energy sphere, which he thrust forward and fired as an energy wave, with the two attacks colliding against each other. "I have you now." "Blast storm," shouted Banyu, flying through the explosion and throwing a purple energy disc at Naruto, who quickly moved out of the way to dodge it. Only to be surprised when the energy disc homed in on him before hitting him, with the whiskered blonde crying out when it suddenly locked around him, leaving Naruto trapped. This giving Banyu the chance to get in close and place her hand on his chest. "And you're done for now," Banyu said, smirking as she injected him with her Kai, before jumping back. Naruto grunted in pain as he saw the inside of his body begin glowing. What did you do?" Naruto said, grunting in pain as he had his Kai try fighting off whatever it was Banyu did to him. "Since you'll be dead anyway, I'll tell you. It's an attack I created myself, where I inject my Kai into an object or a person, turning them into a bomb that'll explode soon after. And the more Kai that I use, the bigger the boom will be. The only downside is the mess it makes when I use it on someone. I call it my Killer Queen technique." Banyu said with a smirk, as Naruto fell to the ground as he tried keeping his body together, while his Kai tried fighting off Banyu's. "Fighting it won't save you and only make the effects worse. I've seen others try fighting it, only to be met with much nastier results than simply exploding. You know, it's a shame really, if it was any of the others outside of Legic, that transformation would have been enough to turn the tides. But I happen to be the second strongest of our group thanks to my intelligence and power," stated Banyu, since one didn't join the Jinyu force without the power to back it up, while having spent the last 27 years training and getting stronger, so she could one day avenge her former comrades and Lord Frieza, while also knowing that either way, he's going to die. Come on. I have to think of something," Naruto thought, desperately thinking of something to do to save himself. Before he suddenly remembered one of the lessons he learned about Kai from his parents. That Kai can be given to another person to restore their own or be taken for certain attacks, like the Spirit Bomb, which can then be transferred or absorbed. Like how Goku gave the Spirit Bomb to his father to use against Vegeta and then absorbed it when they fought Android 13. "I got it," thought Naruto as he struggled to stand up, while rather than fighting Banyu's Kai, he began absorbing it into his own and transferring it into an energy orb between his hands. "What do you think you're doing?" Banyu said, seeing him actually trying to form an attack, which should be impossible, while Naruto gave a strained smile. "I'm just returning what you gave to me. Infinity Cannon," Naruto shouted before firing the blast of explosive Kai at Banyu, throwing her into the air as the alien screamed in shock and pain as the attack launched her high into the air. When the attack faded, Naruto didn't see any sign of Banyu or sensed her Kai, though he couldn't be entirely sure if the attack killed her or not. Only that he didn't have to worry about exploding anymore and that we won the fight. Panting, Naruto fell out of his transformation and collapsed from the strain of what he just did. Thankfully, he was caught by Pan and Bra as they along with Goku and Trunks soon arrived. "Naruto, are you alright?" Bra asked in worry, upon seeing the state he was in. "Yeah, I'm good. How did you guys do?" questioned Naruto. "We beat our opponents, but not without some trouble," Pan replied, with the others nodding in agreement. "Yeah, they were definitely stronger than we thought, but we won in the end," added Trunks. "That's good. Now we just need to deal with Ass," Naruto said, getting nods of agreement before the group went to find Don Key and deal with him. Time skip one day. After taking care of Don Key's bodyguards, they'd locked the tyrant up and informed the Namekians that they were now free of Don Key, much to their joy and happiness. With the group distributing the money back to the people, as well as the deeds to their homes and property, along with returning any ships that had been confiscated. The Namekians being more than happy to regain their freedom, along with even giving them the parts they needed to fix their ship for free. "Alright. The ship is ready and fully operational again, now to get back to finding those Dragon Balls. Trunks said as they all sat in their ship, all of them more than eager to leave the mecha and get back to their mission. Yeah. Let's get to it. And what about you, Jiru? Have you found any Dragon Balls nearby? Naruto asked, looking at the robot, who nodded his head rapidly. Jiru find Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball on planet close by to north of here. Replied Jiru, turning around as the radar opened up, showing them where the Dragon Ball was located. Great. We already have the coordinates for the first Dragon Ball. Pan cheered, happy that they can already start collecting the Black Star Dragon Balls. Well, no use sitting around, let's get moving. Said Bra as she and Trunks started up the ship before taking off to where the first Dragon Ball was located. So this part ends here. Alright, that's it for today's video guys, let me know in the comments section how was the story, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I will meet you in another video, bye bye.